Hey gang, back with another video for you today. I've got a brand new house I want to talk to you about, but of course I mentioned them recently in a video and showed a couple of their fragrances. I included them in a niche indie houses under $100 video, even though this is a designer, I would call them, because it's part of a store chain. Not a store chain, but a store and their fragrances, El Ganso, which means the goose. And they've got 4 fragrances here that I'm going to talk to you about. And those 4 fragrances are Part-Time Hero, After Game, Friday Edition, and Bravo Monsieur. So those are the 4 different fragrances, and I'm going to tell you all about these 4 fragrances. They're sold here currently at So Avant-Garde. The fragrance group offers these fragrances on their website, So Avant-Garde. And I've got one giveaway as well, 1 bottle of choice to 1 subscriber of this channel from the USA, as this is distributed only in the USA, and that's who is sponsoring the giveaway, the USA distributor of El Ganso's perfumes. So if you're curious to learn about El Ganso's perfumes and have a chance at winning a full bottle, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. Yes, I'm talking about El Ganso's 4 fragrances. So this is Part-Time Hero. This is After Game. This is Friday Edition. And finally, this is Bravo Monsieur. So you'll find out all about these 4 fragrances. 125 ml bottles for $79 each. A great niche quality stylings, and really very inexpensive, I think, because not only they're only $79 per bottle, but they're also 125 ml bottles, which means you get 25 milliliters of more juice for less than what you would pay for a designer's signature line of fragrances. So I find that they're a great value, and I'll let you know all about them. Of course, I have that giveaway as well, thanks to the folks at the fragrance group, soavantgarde.com. So I'll tell you all about those fragrances, but if this is your first time tuning in to my channel and you still haven't subscribed, please do click the subscribe button below, and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So El Ganso basically means the goose, and it's a store that was founded in 2004 in Madrid. So next time I go to Madrid, I was there about 3 years ago, I'm definitely going to go visit to see what kind of clothing they have. Obviously, we have the fragrances here, and I'm going to tell you all about them. But those of you that are in Spain, sorry, you can't participate in the giveaway, unfortunately. But if you have someone that can collect your prize here in the USA, you can definitely participate. But those of you that are in Spain, let me know what you think about this clothing store. And I'm curious. Obviously, I can't visit because I'm here in the USA, but I'm glad to have the fragrances here that I can talk to you about. So, El Ganso's Part-Time Hero is my favorite of the 4. I'm going to talk to you about this particular fragrance first. And today's video, I'm doing it in a way where I'm talking about my favorite first, and then the further I go, the least of my favorite. But you know, everybody has different tastes. You might like number 4. I like number 1 the most, and it's Part-Time Hero. Now the 4 fragrances are Eau de Toilette concentration, and they are 125 ml bottles, $79. And as I said, there's a link to So Avant-Garde. They are the distributors, and they sell them directly on their website. This particular fragrance, the perfumer is Leslie Gerard, and this is considered a citrus aromatic, or I would also go to the extent of calling it a citrus floral, because it has a pretty prominent rose note. The rose is pretty prominent, like you can totally smell it, but it's in a way that it's very well blended with the lemon, and you almost get like an equal balance of lemon and roses. So it's almost like lemons and roses. I used to buy a tea called Lemon Roses. It was really beautiful tea that I used to drink, but this kind of reminds me of that perhaps a little bit, but not necessarily. It's very fresh and refreshing and very, very floral, and I could see the aromatic touches because it has lots of lavender in the notes, and of course there are some light juniper touches in here as well. So I like the way this works on my skin chemistry, and I like the way it smells off of me as well, and that's why it's at number 1. The only thing that I would want to say that this reminds me of another fragrance that I'm a fan of. It reminds me of Mirto de Panarea from the House of Acqua di Parma. So if you're used to that, you might definitely notice the similarities. I mean, they're not identical fragrances, but Mirto de Panarea is known for myrtle as a flower, so it's quite spicy. Here, it reminds me of that fragrance, but it doesn't have the spiciness factor. I mean, there's spicy touches here, definitely, but it's not as spicy as Mirto de Panarea. In the end, it's a fresh fragrance utilizing a lot of lemons, lots of rose, bergamot, juniper berries. There's lots of green touches, so it's a green experience and it's quite musky. So I feel like this is perfect. This particular fragrance is perfect for summer wear, and I think fall, spring would be perfect as well. And even though I think it's kind of light for winter wear, I think if you want some bright, uplifting, fragrance with the lemons and roses, I think it'll definitely work. That's why this one's turned out to be my favorite of the four. Number 2 is pretty close to number 1, and then we're going to number 3 and 4, which are further away from how much I like this particular one and number 2. But that's Part-Time Hero. And I like the names of these fragrances. They're supposed to be different personalities of people. So Part-Time Hero, obviously, is this particular fragrance. So my second favorite of the 4 fragrances is After Game. So this one actually makes really sense to me. The way the name is given to this fragrance, After Game, for me means I'm going to take a shower, right? So for this one, it's so refreshing and fresh. I think typically most people reach for something like this to get refreshed after a hot shower or something. But either way, this is another Eau de Toilette fragrance. 125 ml, once again, is $79. This perfumer here for this one is Sidnonie Lancesseur. And now this particular perfumer did 2 of the 4 fragrances, and I'm pretty familiar with her fragrances. She's done a lot of fragrances by Kilian's fragrances. So I was very curious to really study these fragrances and to see what she's done for this particular house. So this is considered a woody citrus, or I would even go to the extent of just calling it a citrus fragrance because it's ultra fresh. And when I'm bringing up the whole shower thing and after game thing, you usually reach for these kind of like fresh eau de cologne type fragrances. This kind of feels like that to me, and that's why I thought, it's an appropriate name for this one. But this is, when you first spray it, it's got lots of mandarin, right? So it's a green mandarin according to the notes, and it's got a very, very green vibe. It's an ultra green fragrance, but this one doesn't stop at the citruses. It also adds this very, very cozy tea note, Tea has a very cozy quality, and you can experience this here. And that's another reason why I feel like it's an appropriate name, because after a game, you want to relax, you want to settle in and just not get energized for the game much anymore. So I think it's appropriate to add this particular note in here. It's just a very calming experience. Even like if you're not at a game or after a game, if you're out and about in the summertime when it's really warm, it's exhausting, kind of like, tiring. The heat can be overwhelming. This is a perfect cooling off fragrance. Not only does it have the soothing, cozy qualities, it also has these like very fresh, uplifting, touches in there, so that you've got not only the coziness and also the uplifting, wake up kind of experience from the fragrance. This is really, really great. Again, it's very close to being a tie with Part-Time Hero. But in the end, this turned out to be at number 2, because in the end, it's not a complex fragrance. So in the end, it's like, it's a great freshie, it's an excellent fresh fragrance, but it's not anything like groundbreaking. I've smelled countless fragrances like this, so this is El Ganso's interpretation of this fresh green fragrance. So in the end, I enjoyed it a lot. It's a great fragrance. It's like, could be like an afterthought kind of a fragrance. You just want to smell great and fresh and put on something like this. Now this can also be a perfect fragrance for someone that works in an office setting where people are kind of sensitive to smells, because it's not overwhelming, it's fresh, it's pleasant. It could also be most likely considered a crowd pleaser as well, because it has those kind of qualities. Anyway, After Game is number 2. Really enjoy that one, and that is my number 2 favorite from El Ganso. And then we're going to a little further away from being my favorite. Now this one I was really, really curious about, number 3, Friday edition, and as far as the style goes, I thought this would be a number 1 favorite. And this one, once again, is also created by Sidnonie Lancesseur. So 2 fragrances, After Game and Friday Edition, are created by her. Now, I wanted to like this one, and even though I like it when it's first sprayed, something about the dry down wasn't very appealing to me. So this is once again an Eau de Toilette, 125 ml, $79. Perfumer Sidnonie Lancesseur. It's considered an Oriental Fougere or aromatic woody. So aromatic woody, Oriental Fougere sounds really wonderful. Oriental Fougere, basically, you know, a barbershop fragrance going to the Oriental direction with warm notes like vanilla and resins and things like that. So there's something a little medicinal in the dry down. I think it's kind of why I wasn't really gravitating towards this one, even though I love medicinal types of touches and fragrances. But you know, I preferred the other two a little more. But in the end, this one is lots of tonka beans, lots of lavender, lots of cardamom. So it's ultra spicy, a little tobacco-ish as well. Not a lot, a little bit. And you know, it's a pleasant scent. I enjoy it, but I prefer the other ones a little more. I think this one also has a little bit of an anise, so there's like a little bit of a licoricey touch to it. And in the end, I love these notes. You know, these are some of my favorite notes. Anise, lavender, there's some sage in here, there's some mint, there's bergamot, and of course sandalwood. And I think the sandalwood in here is that kind of slight medicinal kind of quality sandalwood that you would find in something like Santal 33. So maybe that's why I wasn't gravitating towards this one as much, but I like the idea a lot, and I liked, you know, what they accomplished with it up until, you know, the dry down of this particular fragrance. But you know, you might like this one more than the other ones. I think it's just a matter of trying them all, testing them out to see which is your favorite and which is not. But that's Friday edition, an Oriental Fougere or an aromatic woody. I'm going to also go to the extent of calling it a woody spicy fragrance because it has lots of spicy touches in the end. So that's Friday edition, my third favorite of the lot. So the fourth and final fragrance is Bravo Monsieur, this one right here. Now Bravo Monsieur, as soon as I smelled it, I'm like, okay, that smells like Santal 33. So I'm getting a little burnt out of fragrances that smell like Santal 33 because, you know, I have a love-hate relationship with that fragrance. Sometimes I really love it, sometimes I hate it. Most of the time I hate it, then love it. So it's a kind of a, I don't know, it's not the fact that I smell it on people a lot because I know it's a very, very popular fragrance, but it's also very, very polarizing. I prefer my sandalwoods to be on the creamy, milky side, but then sometimes I crave that kind of like crunchy wood chippings, kind of cucumbery sandalwood kind of a smell. So that's what this one reminded me on initial spray or initial smell. But it does have some unique twists to it. It's not identical. I think it's inspired by Santal 33 in the end. So Eau de Toilette, once again, 125 ml, $79. This is created by perfumer Dorothy Piot. Considered a woody spicy or woody aromatic. So this one, in the end, it's very, very woody and lots of spiciness. There are lots of warm touches in this one, and you know, it's aromatic. There are aromatic notes in here because there's some iris note in here. There's a little bit of lavender. But it's ultra woody. It's a very, very woody experience, and also powdery. I would go to the extent of calling this one powdery because there's a major violet note in here. So it's got like a very, very interesting, almost like a fusion of violets with the violet leaves. It's not just, you know, in your face violets only. And violets are known to be powdery. So anyway, so it's interesting that they've combined it here, and it kind of comes off smelling of powdery touches. But in the end, it's very, very sandalwoody, and that sandalwood is what reminds me, I should take that back, it's not just a sandalwood in here. There's papyrus in here, and that's the combination of the sandalwood and the papyrus, or sometimes cypriol, that kind of goes into that direction of reminding me of Santal 33. It's not just sandalwood by itself, because sandalwood by itself doesn't go in that direction. It's that combination of that papyrus note, which we also experienced in another video recently as well. But that's what this one's all about. Sadly, I put it at 4 because I've seen a lot of fragrances that are reminding me of this Santal 33 like smell, even though it doesn't end up smelling identical. But as soon as you put your nose on it, that's what it'll remind you of. And you know, since I have that love-hate relationship with Santal 33, this one ended up at number 4. But you might like it more than me. I don't know. I think, as I said, as a best thing for you to do is get some samples if you can, or sample them at a store if you are in Spain. I don't know where they're sold in stores here in the country here, but of course, as I said, these are sold at soavantgarde.com, and I have a link in the info box. So those are my thoughts on the 4 fragrances from El Ganso. Part-Time Hero is my number 1 favorite. After Game is my 2nd favorite. Friday Edition is my 3rd favorite, and Bravo Monsieur is my 4th favorite. So let me know what you think about these fragrances, and in order to participate in the giveaway, please put a comment down and let me know which fragrance sounds best to you. number 1. Let me know what you liked about this video, number 2. And also please put your state, number 3. So just do all those 3 things, and then also please make sure you're subscribed. As I said, next year I'm going to be checking subscribers and only qualifying people that are publicly subscribed to my channel. So be warned, that's what I'll be doing next year. But overall, I hope you liked this video overview on El Ganso's fragrances, 4 fragrances. Again, if you're in Spain and you know the store, let me know. Also, obviously, if you're in Spain, maybe you've smelled the fragrances in their store as well. Please put a comment down so I can find out. So next time I go to Spain, I can visit this particular store, especially since it's based out of Madrid. But they might have multiple stores. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that they're based out of Madrid. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Otherwise, please like this video, please share it, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.